This video is to discuss how to solve basic Ohm's Law and electrical power problems. You can get a copy of this worksheet from the physics team website, and it's posted on the calendar, and you can work through it with me, or you can work through it on your own paper if you'd like. So before we solve any problems, the first thing I'd like to go over are the equations that we use. So the first equation is Ohm's Law, V equals I R. You may also see it written V over I equals R, V over R equals I. Either way, it's describing the relationship between voltage, resistance, and current. So current and resistance are inversely proportional to each other, and they're both directly proportional to voltage. V is the symbol for voltage, and the units are volts, which is also abbreviated as V, and that's how much energy is in a charged particle. So it's the energy per charged particle. I is current, which makes no sense, I know, but it's current. It's how much charge is going through the circuit at a given time. It's the flow rate of charge. And so that has a unit of amperes, which is most commonly abbreviated amps, or A. And it could also be referred to as coulombs per second, charges per second going through the circuit. R is resistance, and that is measured in what we call ohms, and the symbol for that is the Greek letter omega. If you think about it, it kind of looks like somebody meditating Om. Okay, so that's resistance. The other equation that we use is for power. P is equal to V times I. Voltage is still V, current is still I, and P is for electrical power. And just like when we did work and power, the units for power are still watts. It's going to be energy per second, because voltage is energy per charge, current is charge per second. The charge part cancels out, so it becomes energy per second. Okay, so I got these problems and I changed them just a little bit so that we could practice a couple more things, but I got them from your e-textbook, and these are the pages you can go to look. You access it the same way you do to access your homework assignments. So the first problem says the current through a toaster that is connected to a 120 volt source is 8A. So remember, V is volts, A is amps. What power is dissipated by the toaster? So our givens are going to be, we have 120 volts, and that's going to be our voltage. 8A is our current, and then we don't know our power, but we know that we're going to have to use these three symbols in the formula. So we're going to pick this formula, P is equal to VI, P, and then we're going to substitute. V is 120, I is 8, so the power is going to be 120 times 8, and that's going to give us 960 watts of power. Question B says, what is the resistance of this toaster? So we still have our given information. We have 120 volts. We have 8 amps of current. This time we're looking for resistance. So we use our formula. V is equal to IR. 120 is equal to 8 times R. We have to separate these two, so we can't subtract them, because if we try to subtract them, the R has to go with it, and it doesn't make sense. So we're going to divide both sides by 8 to get R by itself. So that gives us 15 ohms is equal to our resistance. So it's very simple once you know what you're plugging in, and the easiest way that we can help you learn how to plug stuff in is to make sure you always start with your formula. Don't try to skip and just write numbers, because it makes more of a chance that you're going to put them in the wrong place. It also helps to make sure you're doing the algebra correctly. So let's try the next one. A 4200 watt clothes dryer is connected to a 220 volt circuit. How much current does the circuit draw? So we have 4200 watts. So remember, if it's in watts, then that's power. So P is equal to 4200 watts and a 220 volt circuit. And so volts is voltage. So V is equal to 220 volts. And it's asking for current, and current is I. So we need a formula that has those three symbols. So we're going to choose the power formula. P is equal to VI. 4200 is equal to 220 times I. Again, we're going to have to divide both sides by 220. And that is going to give us 19.1 amps of current. B says, what is the resistance of the clothes dryer? So now we know the current. I is equal to 19.1 amps. We know our voltage is 220 volts, and we're looking for resistance, and that should be in ohms. Now we have these three symbols, so we're going to use V is equal to IR. So V is equal to IR, 220 is equal to 19.1 times R. We have to divide both sides by 19.1. 220 divided by 19.1 is 11.52 ohms of resistance. The last question says a resistor of 60 volts has a current of 0.40 amps through it when it's connected to the terminals of the battery. So this actually is a typo, and I'm going to fix it on your sheet that you can download. So a resistor of 60 ohms has a current of 0.4A through it when it's connected to the terminals of a battery. What is the voltage of the battery? So we know the resistance is 60 ohms and the current is 0.4 amps, and we're looking for V. So we're going to use V is equal to IR. V is equal to IR, so we're going to leave this V because we're looking for it. I is 0.4 and R is 60. So voltage is 0.4 times 60, which gives you 24 volts. B says how much power is dissipated by this resistor. So we're looking for power. We know our current is 0.4 amps, and we know our voltage is 24 volts now because we just solved for that. So P is equal to VI. P is equal to 24 times 0.4. So 0.4 times 24 gives us power of 9.6 watts. If you are continuing to struggle with this, you can always ask your teacher and they'll help you. But like I said, the main point, just like when we do any kind of math problem, is to start with your formula. Okay, use your units to help you match up your numbers to your symbols, and then continue through with correct algebra. Don't just start with numbers because that leads to formula mistakes. I hope this helps. Again, if it doesn't, you can always come to your teacher and we will always help you. Thank you.